All right, boys, we're going to go on board. Welcome back, Cranky Yankee F1. I'm going to keep this one nice and short. I've had endless infinity conversations about this, and I've accepted the fact that people are just not going to like it, and I'm not going to be able to. If you're open to new things and you're open to hearing and having conversations and new ideas, you're going to listen. If not, you're not. But Leclerc fans are just being unfair. If you don't watch this footage, and I don't have a bias towards or for anyone. I don't favor anyone. I don't not like anyone. So I'm just going to give you the information as it is. We're going to look at the onboards, and Vettel makes a good point. He took the racing line. He took that slipstream. And this whole conversation about the Ferrari strategy is all predicated on Vettel was benefited from the slipstream more so than he would have been. But the point is, and this is what Mattia has already confirmed, so I don't even know why a lot of people are still arguing. Mattia confirmed Vettel took matters into his own hands. Number one, he had an incredible start. They didn't expect him to be even near Vettel or near Leclerc by the first turn, and by the second turn passing him. So that's a fact. Their whole strategy was based on it happening later. And that's Vettel's point. They were already racing. And if you look at this start, when we get into it, I always have to talk a little bit so they will let me upload it. But Vettel took the slipstream. He wasn't benefiting from the fact that he was off the line. Now, I will defend Charles Leclerc and say he was slightly off the racing line. This little mini turn, this bend, this dogleg to the right, you should probably hit the corner, but it wouldn't have mattered. And that's Vettel's point. He is correct here. This was not in the plan. And it has everything to do with Vettel had an incredible start, and in no way the Ferrari strategy was considering Leclerc having just a horrible start. So we're going to do it from Carlos Sainz's view. Hamilton pulls a veteran move, and he tries to veer over to the left. So when he veers over to the left, what he's trying to do is get in Leclerc's slipstream. Now, quote unquote, the plan is Leclerc is supposed to be far to the left, but you do see him start to veer over. So it's not egregious, so I'm not going to call him out because that's ridiculous. But just notice immediately, Leclerc's already kind of moving to the right. Vettel has no business. This is Vettel right in front of him. He has no business passing Hamilton already. Remember, the tires are on though. But it just goes to show you how well Vettel got away and why he's saying, look, this was mine. He's already fighting for position and taking him. And if you're telling me that this is his slipstream he's in, that he's in the slipstream and benefiting from it, none of the plan had anything. They did not plan for this. And that is why when you hear Leclerc say, I'll let him say it, I'll quote him, but just for me to understand, the situation was pretty clear, right? He says that halfway through the first lap. If the plan is for them to go through the first lap 1-2, and they're not even through it, and he says the situation was pretty clear, that is 100% evidence that they did not plan for that. So if we couple that with the fact that he's already passed Hamilton, so what is he supposed to do? Not take the slipstream? And this is why when Vettel said, I thought it was pretty clear. If we're racing, we're racing. He didn't benefit from the slipstream. At this point, when Vettel says, I would have passed him no matter what, he's not being petty. He's being genuine because he took matters into his own hands. He got around Hamilton, who's on the mediums, and Leclerc had a horrible start. Even people who are fans of Leclerc and support him say that. So he is in the slipstream, but that's as opposed to what? They did not plan for that to happen. It's because Vettel got away so incredibly well that happened. So now let's go on board with Vettel, and I want to show you, let's go on board with Hamilton. You'll see him go over to the left because he is defending. He basically goes immediate left. So, and Leclerc does come right. It's not like he's staying out there to give him a slipstream perfectly. He has to work for that. And look how close they are to touching. What are we saying here? He's literally moving, trying to defend. He's not in this slipstream perfect. He wasn't perfectly towed through from P3 off the grid. He had to work for this. They did not plan for this. And you want me to prove it? I will prove it. I'm going to show you the 2018 Russian Grand Prix. Hamilton's in second on the purples last year. This is Valtteri, and watch their strategy. So now we're away, and you can see there it's still kind of the same thing. He moves to the right. Doesn't it look carbon copy? Doesn't this look carbon copy? And at what point do we start to say, okay, the only difference was he got a little bit more to the right, but it wasn't, Hamilton didn't take the lead here. Hamilton didn't come out ahead because he got the slipstream. He came out ahead because it was the better exit out, and he's going in a straight line. They're Formula One cars. This is going to go faster, regardless of where Valtteri was. And if you go back to Vettel, it didn't really matter where he went after this because Vettel got away so well. At this point, he could go immediately to the right. It wouldn't even be too different than what Valtteri did if we back up a little bit. Let's go to 822. So they're away. And let's see if we can match it perfectly. Okay, so at this point, tell me what's different about this. Tell me what's different. The only difference is Vettel got there a couple inches ahead. You're telling me he benefited from the slipstream. Come on, guys. If you look at this and you can't see that, Vettel took this upon himself. Vettel gets around him. Vettel is aggressively getting over to the right because he knows if he can cut him off before he gets to that corner when he's on soft tires. Look, tell me how this is any different than what we just saw with the line that Valtteri took when they certainly weren't on team orders. It's not necessarily that, he was getting that slipstream. That's not what cut him off right there. He's just on more of a straight line, and he got away better. Vettel here would have been right there no matter what. Tell me why Carlos Sainz is right here then. If Hamilton got away so well. It's not that. He didn't get away well, number one. Number two, and let's kind of close this out. So I'm going to end this video because I think I could literally keep going on and on and on. But number one, Vettel got away incredibly well. Incredibly well. Number two, Leclerc did not get away well. If you go look at his onboard, I don't want to make it too long. You hear his wheel spin. Same with Hamilton. He does not get away that well. Lewis actually has been struggling this year, getting away in a couple races. And number three, Hamilton's on mediums. He's on the slower tire. I don't understand why Ferrari didn't think about that, but Vettel was always going to get away a little bit better. He is a decent starter. He was on softer tires, and he's on the clean part of the track. So I'm not really sure why people are saying Leclerc gave him the toe. No, he took the toe. He got away better, and he got into positioning. It wouldn't have mattered where Leclerc went, because even if he moved all the way to the right, like we saw Valtteri, it's almost the same exact picture, carbon copy. If he got to the right, then Vettel still would have been in front. He would have just moved to the right. And people were saying, look, he had enough time to pass him. And if you look at that turn, it's that little dog, it's that, kind of veer to the right, and then they turn to the right, and then they flick back to the left for that long 750-meter turn to the left, the biggest on the calendar. It's better to be on the outside. All he would have to do is pop back out, and everyone knows defend the inside. I get it. But at the end of the day, Vettel would have been there. It didn't matter where he went. He would have been there. And I just showed you Carlos Sainz is passing Hamilton. So that should at least show you, unless you think Hamilton's slow, that should at least show you both of them got away very well, Sainz and Vettel. But it doesn't matter where he went after this because Vettel was already on him. Now, why should Vettel have to be compromised? Because Leclerc didn't do his job on his start. And that's what Vettel's saying. And if you go listen, it's not like he's saying we'll never get... He is saying, fine, close up, though. And I get it. That's kind of a passive-aggressive comment. But for people saying he's in dirty air, no, he's not. Dirty air applies specifically in particular to turns, but he's not just sitting there following him. He wasn't that close. Vettel was gapping him. And I pulled up the sector times. I had all that ready, but I'm not going to do that. It's already a little bit longer than I wanted. I'm not going to apologize, but it is one of those things where I don't know why. And Mattia has even said this. He's even said, look, Vettel got away better than we thought. And he took matters into his own hands. And when he did that, we achieved objective one. Objective one was fend off Lewis Hamilton. Vettel negated him immediately. He made him a non-factor. Even almost Carlos Sainz, and Hamilton takes a spot back, but he made him a non-factor. At that point, you're racing. And if you have a bad start and your teammate gets on you immediately, the plan is out the window. And when Vettel says something like, hey, well, first of all, it's respectful to respect the team conversation to say, we'll talk about it later. I know it's not fair. You guys want to hear, but I don't want to discuss that. That's the way to handle that. Not say, oh, I got screwed over. Like Leclerc going, it's petulant. And I want the drivers to express themselves, but not strategy, and especially not when you haven't seen the footage or, and you see Vettel's engineer saying the same thing. Like, just put your head down and drive. You're fine. Like, you're gapping him. So at the end of the day, it doesn't. Matthias confirmed it, and Vettel, when he says things like, "I thought we were clear. If we're racing, if we end up racing, then." This is no longer about the strategy. And when he says, I would have gotten him anyway, he's not being passive aggressive, but I can understand why Leclerc and any other fan of Leclerc would think that. But when you look at this footage, it's beyond a shadow of a doubt. He would have been there no matter what. And in Vettel's eyes, Leclerc messed up. He had a poor start from pole. He doesn't deserve that spot. And because he took it so easy and couldn't catch him, doesn't that say enough? The dirty air does not account for that gap they had. The dirty air does not, the slipstream does not account for him bullying Hamilton from getting on that line. He should have been on that line. And I'm pretty sure Hamilton is kicking himself for that. So I'll stop the video there. But this was one where, I have a lot more to say about it, but I'm not going to. So send me your thoughts, and we'll talk about this another time. But I'll upload some more onboard. I want to look at Kimmy's because it's really funny. But I want to go through the Albon overtakes, and so I'm probably gonna do that here soon. It's pretty late, but I'll upload that. And yeah, if you guys have any requests, let me know, and I'll talk to you guys soon.